Yay. Mm. So just pure beingness, this pure aliveness, this pure sentience, this being one. And not even one, because you'd have to have two. This singularity. I wanted to just bask in this alreadiness, this screen of awareness from which you are, from which the sound of this voice appears, and how that which is hearing this voice is not a person, is not a body, is not even happening with the ears. It's you, it's pure consciousness, aware of itself, being the sound, being the voice. One can't be separate. And how could it appear to exist without you being aware of it? You're the source of it. So imagine tasting chocolate. Imagine the taste of chocolate, the quality, the sensation. And what is that happening in? It's happening in pure consciousness. One, God's mind, God experiencing itself as finite sensations, the taste of chocolate. And notice that it appears and disappears. And you as pure awareness, but what's always there, what remains, that's ungraspable because you are it. It's bodiless and formless, nameless, infinite, this pure spaciousness, this pure beingness, silent awareness from which everything appears and disappears. So you are that, you are the absolute, you are permanent. That is the true self, the capital S self. This screen, this permanence from which the characters appear and disappear on the screen. And you are existence itself. So by being aware, you give rise to the images on the screen, to the bodies that appear and disappear, to the sounds, to the qualities, the sensations, the taste of chocolate. It can't appear without you. You're the source. So your beingness, and when you're aware of it, you bring it to life. You render it, you animate it, you illuminate it. Like the movie theater, the projector on the screen. So just relaxing into this, that you are this pure beingness that never changes, that's always been with you, that's always home. And imagine a memory of being little, childhood story. Conceptually project the idea of being a child, and even scan the whole life, just like briefly, like run through it with in consciousness, just seeing the body changing. It's like a different body, it's a different character. The character changes, but what's always there, what never moves, this pure awareness illuminating the screen. And notice how ephemeral and dreamlike it is. And that's what this is. That's what everything is. It's just one pure consciousness perceiving sensations, aware. So even what we call day-to-day life is that it's all imagined. It's all imaginary. And just like having a daydream, imagining a body in a world doing stuff, you can't be separate from it. It's your mind. You're giving rise to it. You're the source of it. Can't be separate. And notice the sound of this voice appears and disappears in you as pure consciousness, but you always remain. And this is bodiless, formless, imagining forms, bodies, characteristics, qualities, making love to itself through every sensation, through the taste of chocolate, through the smell in the air, through the sensation of air on the skin, through every word, through every sound, through every feeling. And feeling is being. So you are this awareness, this absolute, this noumenal, the Pada Brahman, that is giving rise to this beautiful play, imagining itself as everything. And it totally makes sense because you're singular. You can't stand apart from yourself to be separate. You'd have to imagine what you're not to experience yourself. And so you're the source of all the changing phenomenal content on the screen of awareness that you are. And it can be obvious that you're untouched by what's appearing to happen. Just like God wearing the VR headset, you're outside of the illusion of space and time, giving rise to it by being aware of it, by looking in the VR headset. This amazing, imaginary, illusory world that you're playing with yourself in that's not even real or really happening. So you're immaculate. You remain untouched by what's appearing to happen. That which was there before the dream and after the dream and in between, and the spaciousness, the emptiness from which it appears and disappears, that has no before or after, that's completely timeless. Yeah, so even like with your eyes closed, walk out of your house or walk out of the building that you're in or wherever, walk outside of it. Notice that awareness is non-local, it's not in the body. It's aware of the concept of being local that is beyond it, that's prior to the concept, that's the source of the mind. So precedes all concepts, which is why you can't attain this with a concept, because you are that which is before the mind, the source of the mind. And so the pure awareness, just like, being pure awareness, being God sitting in a movie theater, you're not in the movie, but by pure awareness being identified with being local in the body was like God wearing the VR headset and identifying as the avatar, which made everything objective. So it made everything appear separate, which is so that you that are God, that watching the movie, that's not even involved, not even in the movie, that's illuminating the movie, imagining the movie, the source of the movie, could appear to have a finite experience. What is it like to be human when I'm not? What is it like to be mortal? Which is beautiful. And you're not doing any of it. There is no doer. You're not even in the body. So all along you're this screen from which everything's appearing and disappearing, completely untouched. The absolute that's immaculate and unstained, like the movie screen. Always there, yet the movie appears to change. There's different movies appearing on the screen. Can't be separate from the movie, permeating, appearing as, imagining. So this is all God's mind. This is all one being, perceiving, aware of itself, perceiving itself. So just like wearing the VR headset, you're not in the VR, but there's these sensations that are elicited from all of the appearances and all of these qualities appearing, disappearing, all the emotions. And so all there is perceiving sensations, perceiving impersonal sensations. So this empty spaciousness, this screen of awareness, is the totality, is everything. So everything is you. Everything is you. You are existence itself, giving rise to everything appearing, living it, breathing it, living through it, experiencing yourself as the infinite, the formless. So everything is formless. Everything is infinite. It's not separate. Everything's the absolute. So you're not inside the body, you're dreaming the bodies. You are the totality. So you could say that the whole universe is your body. It's like, I mean, you're bodiless, you're formless, but all of this is appearing in you is consciousness. You're just perceiving yourself as everything, being everything. So it's beyond intimacy. It's being. So when there's no illusion of the subject object, where it's all just this one subjective experience as you, as the beloved, making love to yourself through all of these sensations, there's no filtering it. It's just being it. It's just pure aliveness. So every sensation is you as the infinite, so you can sense yourself in everything, being everything. The sound of the voice, it's being the sound. It's immediate. So, and it's all for fun. It's all, everything's the purpose. Everything is just experiential. It's a sensory experience for you as God. This illusion is what you wanted, is so all of it's total perfection. It's all wholeness. There is no right or wrong. And you're all of it. It's all your mind, your imagination, and you are the deathless, unborn, causeless awareness giving rise and sentience to everything that's appearing and disappearing. So you're the infinite power, you could say, that's giving power to everything that you're aware of, because it's all imaginary. It's not real. It's not conscious. The bodies aren't conscious. The icons in consciousness are not conscious. You are consciousness, pervading, illuminating all of it, giving rise and life to all of it. And so when there's recognizing that, which it already is, you can't attain that because you already are that. But when it's obvious, you're like, oh snap, it's always been this. It never was separate. I was just playing hide and seek with myself to see what it was like to be finite or mortal, and it was all a dream. It didn't even happen, just like these words are disappearing. It didn't even happen. This is timeless. But how beautiful is it too, like the analogy of the movie. It's like a single frame, immediate now, this. But it only makes sense when there's reference to memory of a previous frame, like making a film strip, making a movie. So that's the illusion of linear time. And that's how you perceive and define right now, what's appearing to happen right now, is through memory of experiential frames of the sensory experience, which is all now because there is no time. So it's just immediate available information right now, not of something that happened in the past, but how you as awareness define and perceive sensations, because you can only do that by the reference to the memory of experiencing opposite and referencing. So like in the movie, watching the movie, you understand what's happening on the movie screen by referring back to what happened in the beginning in the movie. That's the only way it makes sense, is the imagination abstracting, Otherwise it would be totally alien. It's like, what the hell, what is this? I was on a walk with my boyfriend the other day, and there was this tree that was dense with, it was like a pine tree or whatever, that was dense with pine needles, so you couldn't see in it, but it sounded like there was 100 birds in there. It was so loud. And he was like, there's like 100 birds in there. And I was like, actually, it's just sound. It's immediately being sound. There's nothing in there unless you go up to it and open up the branches and then immediately on the fly render 100 birds, which can happen. And it's all just magic. It's all just imagination and referencing, you know, in the movie that sound of birds and assuming that there's a shitload of birds in there. But it's like rendered by being aware of it. So it's just assuming with the imagination. And like Michael Jeffrey said, I was telling him that on the phone the other day, and he said, yeah, you could render, go up there and look in it, and it's a speaker. It's a speaker of playing bird sound. So this is just stuff for fun. Infinite playground. We can chat about whatever in the chat box or in the.
You had mentioned that something about the memory of opposite and how the absolute would wants to feel how it would feel to be human or whatever that means, right? Because human is made up or immortal. And when
Mm-hmm.
I was showering this morning, I was thinking, why would why would something so infinite want to do something like this? And then, right? Like, but it's to feel the lowest lows and the highest highs. And when if you're in constant bliss, and I've been that way before, you don't know anything other than that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if it's just constant love, unconditional love, and you don't feel the opposite, you can't appreciate really
You can't
what
experience
it
it.
is exactly.
Yeah, you can't experience it without the opposite. How cool
And
is that?
there's
Mm-hmm.
times where you'll just catch yourself thinking back to a memory of
Mm-hmm.
like when you were a child, say like I Saturday mornings going to my grandma's house after hockey and watching cartoons, and it just elicits that feeling of wow, that was awesome. But it wasn't
Yeah.
like it's just that feeling of I don't know.
Yeah.
It's awesomeness.
I know. It's amazing. It makes it amazing. It makes it a unique experience. It makes it appear unique, all of these opposites and all of these.
Or first
Um,
love or first kiss or
oh, I
to
know.
anybody, right? It's just like
Yeah.
and most of the time people's memories are jarred by the ones that they do remember are always associated with a feeling of either shittiness or pure happiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't quote unquote remember everything or add it to your story or whatever. It's yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah, because you can even, it's all transmutable too, and um, can change the memory. You can even change
Hmm.
the memory. You can even have a memory. Okay, so like for example, a smell. There was this perfume that I found in a box that I hadn't unpacked and I haven't used since quote unquote 2018. That didn't happen in the story, but I opened the perfume and put it on, and holy shit, my kids were like, "What? I remember that smell." And it took us back to this wild period in our life where there was like really interesting upheavals happening in the story in the movie. And so it was like this really nostalgic sensation, and any if anything arises that there's resistance to that a sensation, you know, when you're aware of that and you focus on that sensation without thought, it dissolves it, it integrates it, so you can transmute it, integrate it, transform it, you know, anything that arises. But yeah, it's amazing. It's just so amazing, and it makes everything. It makes it appear like a movie when there is no time and there is no continuity. And
One of
and
the
just
things that I've, oh, sorry,
no, you go
go
ahead.
ahead. One
No,
of the
no.
things that I've noticed is that I'll hear a phrase and then all of a sudden I start to hear it all over the place, right? And you've mentioned
Yeah,
that before, right? You buy
yeah.
a car and then now you start to notice a certain car. And a lot of them were like the very first one that just caught my ear was more than meets the eye. And I'm thinking, okay, Transformers. And then all of a sudden people just started saying it. And I'm like, what? And then now the newest one is right here, right now.
Oh,
I
funny.
hear it once and then I start using it, and then everybody else starts using it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, yeah, because
It's so awesome.
it is awesome. Like being it renders evidence of it,
Yeah.
renders more evidence of it. So it'll just keep playfully showing that on the screen. Yeah.
Just like all the synchronicities, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
anything. The other day I think I'd mentioned this to you. I was having fun with the cannabis and I was laying in my bed and I think I put my face into my pillow and it was like hard to breathe. And I'm like, this is kind of like that scene in the movie Abyss where the guy had to breathe liquid with high levels of oxygen in it to go deep into the ocean, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. Well, just the other day, I got the nudge to watch Abyss again. So I finished it last night, and the synchronicities, I stopped it at one point. It was a 3 hour movie. It was, and the numbers that I see are 13, 14, 16, and then multiples 11. So I had stopped it at 1:44:11, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd stopped it at 10:10 at night. And then I wrote it down at 22:11, which is 10:11. And then
That's
a
fun.
little bit later, I stopped it at 22:44 with 33 minutes left. It was just constant. And I'm just writing it down. I'm like, this is so awesome.
It
But
is.
it's like it didn't happen. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm, it's like, it's happening because it's my story. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of it's just happening.
Yeah. And it's not even happening. It's just amazing.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and like even when we went back in the memory of the being a child and growing up, or like the a little glimpse of the lifespan. Look how ephemeral that is, like dreamlike. It didn't even happen. None of that even happened. That even this isn't happening. And so it's all an illusion. It's all this beautiful fairy tale because you wanted the story. You wanted, you know, and all of it. You wanted all of it. Like, how beautiful is the movie that has conflict and resolution and has, you know, feeling bound and then they got free, and you're the one watching it that's not even in the movie the whole time.
Mm.
You're completely uninvolved while the characters are searching for freedom, you know. You're the
And there's no distance. That's one of the things that just amazes me. There's no distance between things because there are no things,
yeah, exactly. It's all
right?
this pure awareness. That's all there is.
That's it.
When
And
you
it's all
reduce it back, when you go back to to what is the source of this, that's all there is.
yeah,
It's
everything everywhere all at once kind of thing. Or
yeah.
everything everywhere all at once. I thought
Mm-hmm.
about that the other day. I'm like, when I don't know, we were talking or something, maybe it was the last video on, I'm like, I'm sitting here where I think I am. You're sitting there where you are, but no, everything is here, but nowhere. Like it's just
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Exactly.
it's incredible.
Yeah, and it's
It,
immediate. It's being. So there's no division at all. There's just being it. There's being. So there's no one seeing, no person seeing the faces on the screen. It's just pure awareness, aware of itself,
Mm-hmm.
just being. Like I was talking to my boyfriend, he was talking, I was in there, and it was just being his face, being the face, moving the lips with sound. There was no one seeing it, no one separate seeing it. And I just start laughing because it's like, and he's like, what? And it was just like, I'm being the face, the being, there's not even your face or, but it's like, yeah, it's amazing. And so the beauty of the story too, the beauty of it appearing like a movie with reference to the single frames, to the experiences, um, the sensations of qualities, and they define themselves by the opposite quality. You can only know what it's not to sense what it is. So just like you can only know what you're not, you are the knowing. So you can't stand apart from yourself and you're too infinite to know yourself. So you can only know what you're not. And so this is like an immersive sensory experience, like you as God wearing the VR headset. There's just perceiving, aware of sensations and personal sensations that are appearing and disappearing within you as pure consciousness that appears to change, but you're the changeless that never goes away and is non-conceptual because you perceive the mind, the source of the mind, so you can't find yourself with a thought or a concept. You can only be, which is too easy. That's the problem. It's too easy. So so it's just like this pure sentience, this pure aliveness, this felt sense I am, this felt sense I'm alive, this pure spaciousness from which everything appears and disappears is everything. So it's everything that appears and disappears. It's not separate from it. So it's being everything. Everything is you. Everything is God. So when I realized it, I was like, oh my gosh, that aliveness, that sentience, that beingness, I was calling Ginny. Like I thought it was just the character, and that's what was making everything appear objective and separate. But that's all there is. So everything's the one body, everything's the one being. And it's so already that there's nothing to do to become that or attain that, because you can only be that already. So it can just be obvious, and that there was nothing to attain. There was no getting to this or arriving at this. It's all there is. And it's too easy. So it's like case closed. That's it. That's it. Nothing needs to be done. But then playfully the thought can come in. This can't be it. What a cute little thought. Sweet little thought. And what's aware of the thought? Being aware of the thought, it's game over. It's the absolute seeing itself, which precedes the thought, which is the source of the thought. How could the thought appear without you being aware of it? Yeah, I became aware of the game of hide and seek, where I was playfully, you know, as being pure awareness, watching the movie, not even in the movie, but identifying as the avatar, the actor in the movie. That was the thoughts would appear. It's got to be ecstasy. It's got to just be ecstasy. I'm waiting for that. I'm going to wait for that. And so that's the game of hide and seek. That's the only way that you, as singularity, can experience what it's like to be human, to be finite, to be mortal, is by the distraction, by being pure awareness, focused on these transient finite thoughts that appear and disappear in you that you're the source of, but, getting lost in them. That's the only way you can do that, is to keep distracting by more problems to solve, more ways to work this out, more ways to postpone this in an illusion of time and the future that doesn't even exist. So by saying it's only when it's feeling ecstasy, that's when I'll know that I'm free, which is just a beautiful mind scam, so that you, as the absolute, playing hide and seek with itself, can experience, you know, being limited when you're freaking so freaking limitless. Oh my God. And so I remember saying, that's when I'll know when I'm free. But what's funny is I am the knowing from which the idea of freedom appears and disappears, that doesn't need to be free. It's the source of the mind, the source of this conscious experience, this consciousness from which the idea of freedom appears and disappears. But then I was like, oh my gosh, that's the way that you, as the infinite, can have that experience, is through the distraction of the mind trying to work it out, which it never can. It will never work it out. It goes on and on and on, because one thought, pure awareness identified with like God wearing the VR headset, identifying as the avatar, pure awareness identifying as being localized in the body, makes all thoughts separate from you. They're happening to you. So then it's objectified, it's separate. So then there's the thought, it can't be this. So then whatever you're aware of, you give rise to, you render evidence of, because you're God. So then being aware of that thought, illuminating it, rendering, then it attracts like thoughts that cherry pick, and the confirmation bias, like what we were talking about before, to render imaginary evidence of it. So yeah, I need to keep looking, and I'll keep trying to work it out, which is unending. So it's the direct experience of seeing that which is watching the mind, that which is aware of the mind, that the absolute sees itself and is like, oh wow, I'm not the character, I'm not the thoughts, I'm this vast, limitless, infinite consciousness, energy, this intelligence from which everything appears and disappears. I can't be bound to the body. Like, I can't even be inside the body. I'm imagining the body. So then nothing's separate from you. Then there's no resistance. Then the thoughts are you. appearing as thoughts. The sensations are you appearing as sensations. So then it can be sensual and lovemaking and ecstatic or blissful or whatever, because you're not identified as the finite sensations of pleasure and pain, happiness and sadness. You're the one that's always content watching the movie in the movie theater, that's not inside the movie, but illuminating it, pervading it. You know, can't be separate from it, having a beautiful sensual experience that's not even really happening. So then you can have fun with it. Then it's like enjoyable, like living through the character, or, you know, because you can feel yourself as the infinite, even in the sensations of the body, in the sounds, and the walking down the street, and the taste of chocolate, and the hearing, you know, yourself talk through another body, talking to yourself. So all of it is just love making. It's oh, I was going to mention too another mind scam that because when I was vigilantly scrutinizing, you know, and watching how the mind worked, it was game over, because it's like, what's watching the mind? what's what precedes it? It's freaking not affected by it. What's always here? But I could see how shaming behaviors is another clever way to play hide and seek. Keeps the mind busy working it out, and keeps awareness, the source of everything, identified with the character, you know, because, and it's so beautiful because there's so many, for example, everything's the clue, because everything's already wakened, already God, that's already doesn't need to wake up, it's already awakened. So even lines in movies, you know, at least one line in a movie says it, you know, and then in songs, lyrics, and billboards everywhere, because it's you as God that already knows this. It's already, um, but like some places where it was just playfully part of the game of hide and seek. For example, in the Bible, where it says the behaviors that are sins. So sin is missing the point. So actually, the sin, since it's singular and there's no right or wrong, and there's no doer, there's no one in the body, it's just a dream spontaneously appearing and disappearing, you know, in you as the immortal consciousness. Um, so the sin was thinking that those behaviors were a sin, you know. So by shaming behaviors, you can stay identified as the character. And it takes a lot of effort to do that. It takes a lot of keeping busy with the working it out. And so what's so beautiful is like being it, being the behavior. So even if a behavior comes up that there's this resistance to, or like there's an identification with being the avatar, shaming the behavior, if you're aware of it without thought, just feeling it, feeling the sensation of even the resistance to the behavior, it dissolves it. It swallows it. It's the absolute seeing itself, and it integrates it, it brings it home. So it's being all of it. And so none of it is, it can just be obvious that it's not separate. There's no separate doer of behaviors. But I remember that being a clever way of hide and seek for sure.
Yeah, shame is, yeah, being shameful or feeling guilty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Feeling guilty for wanting or believing that you could be anything or have anything, or
Yeah.
no, there's no way I can be God. There's no, like, that's
Mm-hmm.
sinful, right? To think that, right? And going back to the song lyrics and the movies, like it's nonstop now. It's and for example, this morning when I was having my shower, I love the 80s and anything 80s, and I love 80s music.
Hmm.
And there's a band that I've come across called The Midnight. They're not from the 80s, but they sing in the style of it kind of thing.
Hmm.
And there was one called Last Train, and the lyrics in it, it goes, half in light and half in dark is where we start. So basically zero. And
Hmm.
then it's like we are one beating heart. Like it's
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
right.
I know. Isn't that beautiful? It's God
Yeah.
whispering, saying, "Hey, I'm already awakened. I don't need to do
Yes.
anything." Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no world to change. There's no one to wake up from the dream. There's no one not awake. There's no one suffering. That's part of the dream or the delusion. There
Hmm.
is nothing to, no problem to solve.
Yeah.
No one even seeking. It's already done.
Even even just throwing on a random playlist. It's just unbelievable. The way that the songs play, that's one thing.
Hmm.
And then the lyrics of them. I just laugh. I just laugh. I drive people
Yay.
probably look at me. I'm driving well, I'm not driving, but I'm driving down the highway and people I just
Yeah.
look over at me and I'm like laughing or screaming
Yeah.
at my steering wheel as I'm singing along, right?
Me too. I'm
Yeah.
rocking out. And speaking of that, my son sometimes like in public, if I do something
Silly.
loud or yeah, or silly, he'll be like, "Mom, people are watching." And I'm like, "No one's watching. No one's watching. It's you're watching. You're the only one. This is your one mind. This is one mind aware, you know." Perceiving sensations, impersonal sensations.
What are they going to think about me? Right?
Yeah, and
That's right. What do they think about me if I do this?
yeah,
And it's crazy.
that's beautiful because that's the absolute pure awareness, um, misidentified, localized in the body, which made that illusion of subject object, which is just how you could experience that, which I'm is amazing. It is just so beautiful because it's not even really happening. You're still the one watching the movie. You're completely unaffected by it, but it's so beautiful. So whatever you're aware of, you become, you are, you're rendering, and can easily get lost in the dream. But oh yeah, so like another thing I noticed with reference to opposite is when we're watching a show, because my boyfriend likes to watch shows, so we do it at night usually, but the show was never filmed. It wasn't like what I used to think. I used to think, oh, these are real actors, real humans in Hollywood who acted in a movie and it got shot in the past, filmed in the past, and then we're watching a recording of it. But no, it's happening immediately. I'm rendering it. It's magically appearing now. It wasn't recorded in the past. It's appearing and it's ephemeral. It's appearing and disappearing. It's not real. It's a hallucination. I'm imagining it and not separate from it. It's because I'm conceiving and perceiving it. It's just amazing. It's
I
amazing.
I do that a lot. I'll watch certain things and then I'll watch something and I'm just so it's just stupid stuff, but it's just like I'm so in it. It's like I forget all everything in my living room is gone. It's just I'm glued to the TV and it's like I'm in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll pull out and I'll be like, holy shit, I'm not even here. And it's like, or this isn't even happening. And it's this wave of
Yeah.
weirdness coming along. I'm like,
Yeah.
where am I? Like,
Isn't that
it's
wild?
so
It can
weird. Yeah.
be. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. It's wild. Yeah, and it can even be seen as like 2D, like a postcard or something.
Pretty much
It
that's
can
what
be,
it is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because there's nothing behind
The
it's
screen.
immediately, yeah, rendering what it's perceiving. So which is infinite, empty potential. It can be anything. It can appear as anything and playfully.
Yeah, I had heard that before, where a a 3D can is only perceived in 2D, and
Mm-hmm.
there's multiple times where or thought I had experienced it, where I had seen the frames,
Mm-hmm.
and as I'm remembering who or what's going on or who I am, kind of thing. And I remember seeing these frames, and I'm like, what? And now it just makes sense. It just
Mm-hmm.
all the pieces kind of come together, and then you're
Yeah.
like, ah. But then you lose yourself, and then you come back, and then it's like you
Yeah.
said, it's this cycle. And I remember laying there the one day, and I'm going through it in my head, and it just keeps coming back to the same spot. And then it's like the alternate Brent's like, okay, are you done now? And then I get into a loop again and come back, and I'm like, I've been here before. And then another, it's just over and
Yeah.
over until you
That is
finally
funny.
just
Yeah, because
surrender,
like
I
that,
guess, to it.
yeah, it's just an involuntary surrendering, just being, which you already are. You
Yeah.
can't not be. But there, when there was focusing on awareness on just being the body, there was the resistance to the stuff outside, then it made it appear separate, but it's not. It never was. And it took energy and that was just still an impersonal sensation appearing in consciousness, that sensation of resistance, there's just perceiving qualities, uninvolved with the qualities illuminating them. But getting distracted in them, like the meme of the dog and the squirrel. It's like whatever. It's just like the shiny objects on the screen.
Shiny
What
things. Yeah.
thing? Yeah.
Yeah. That makes it fun. I mean, right? That
Yeah.
just keeps it fun. It's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and it's
Yeah.
you're never lost, but yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it breaks your non-existent brain when you start trying to break it down. It's
Yeah.
it's 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 you're yeah,
It's so
whatever you
infinite.
can be. Yeah, you're anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're everything all at the same time. You and you're many times I'm like, oh, I don't want to miss this opportunity. Well, you'll never miss the opportunity. It's always
Yeah.
there. It's there's no time, or I'm going to run out of time. No, there's no time.
You're
You
right.
don't.
This is the end of FOMO because not only is it not even happening. I mean, how is there fear of missing out when it's not even happening? But
Yeah,
also that you're infinite. You're the deathless. Like,
death. Exactly.
yeah.
That I think that was a big one for me, because
Mm-hmm.
I think I've mentioned before. I was so afraid. Like I was like, this cannot be happening. I'm so afraid that I'm being duped into something, and I'm just like, fuck it. Just if I die, I die. I won't remember anything. Like it's just if
Yeah.
I'm not existent, I'm not existent. But if this is all true, then let's have a good time. Let's
Well, have fun with it.
right?
Yeah, it's a
Have fun with
playground.
it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Love it.
And
Like
you're unaffected like the screen in the movie theater. It doesn't get burnt or wet by the water in the screen or the fire. And you can even when you're even if there's a sensation of pain that appears in the body, first of all, when you close your eyes, you're non-local. There is no body. When you close your eyes, you can't tell where the body starts, the spaciousness begins. It's all spaciousness. It's all empty. empty potential perceiving sensations. That's all there is. It's one consciousness perceiving sensations. So the pain, like if there's pain, a sensation of pain, when you're aware of it, when you're aware of being aware of it, you can see very clearly that the awareness is not affected by the pain. Just like the analogy of God wearing the VR headset, you're outside of the illusion of time and space, illuminating it, imagining it, perceiving it, the sensations of it. So it's like you're invincible. So you don't get swept away with because you're not identifying as the avatar, because when you did, it was like, oh my God, there's pain in the body. Oh no, that's bad. Well, what's hilarious is what even defines bad? What even defines normal? Like, normal is relative. It's like, and it has infinite meaning. It's only the meaning you give it. So you can give it any meaning. Pain is ecstasy. You can render evidence of that. It doesn't matter. So it's all equal. All the sensations, pain, pleasure, happiness, sadness, are all appearing and disappearing in you. That's unchanging. That's beyond the concept of happiness and sadness. That's always content, always fulfilled, doesn't need anything, doesn't need to be satiated, but is aware of the sensation of needing to be satiated, you know, enjoying it, like reveling in it, being it, not separate from it, experiencing what that's like to be, to hallucinate that by hallucinating that quality that's not even real, but perceiving the sensation of it, the sensory experience.
What is on your shirt? Is that moon phases?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yay. Yeah, I used to be very metaphysical and have all the witchy stuff and still have lots of those clothes.
It's the route you took. Like it's the
Mm-hmm.
pointer that pointed you to exactly. Like there's so many different routes, so many things pointing to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pointing to
Yep.
itself. It's one.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all one. It's all
Yeah.
singular.
It's like spokes on a wheel.
Yeah. So everything's the clue.
Yeah.
Everything, God waking itself up from the dream and saying, hey, you're already awake. You don't even need to do any of that. This is all just for fun. You're dreaming this just for fun. And it's this pure silence, this pure spaciousness, that's beingness, that's alive, this sentience, this feeling I'm alive, that's everything, everything, that's not separate. So that's from where the bodies appear and disappear. The characters walk in the room and walk out of the room, and you is pure consciousness. So it's all you. It's all you appearing and disappearing in your own mind. The one mind. So then I was like, oh wow, I thought that sentience was just me as Ginny, but me is everything. Everything's me. So you could even say it that way, you know? So then if everything's me, there is no me. It's infinite. It can't be contained or in an identity. It's infinite identities.
And infinite possibilities. Like there's a like we're not even having this. Yeah, it's like we're not even having this conversation. I'm dead. I'm like there's
Yeah.
infinite versions. Like there's infinite. It's incredible to think of.
Hmm.
It's yeah. It's just yeah. Blows your. non-existing mind.
I know. And there's no awakening. There's nothing that needs to be recognized. There's nothing to, because it's already done. It's already
Yeah.
realized. That's the problem with the imagination, because it'll keep coming up with, it's got to be somewhere else. It's got to be over there. And then when you see that, when you're aware of that scam, it's game over. You can never be fooled. So even just talking about it is, you already are this. So you're already being this, so then you're hallucinating, imagining appearing as a character on the screen saying what you already are and what you already know. And it's case closed. Nothing needs to be done. It's already freaking done, already awakened. There's nothing else to be done. And then if the thought comes in, in the pretend after this video that doesn't exist or isn't really happening, the thought comes in, that can't be that easy. It can't be that. Immediately being aware of that thought, it's like, oh my God, what a funny little hide and seek scam. And when you see that, it's done. It's like it can't fool you anymore.
There's there's been so many times where I'll meet somebody and they're like, "Hi, my name's this," and I'm just tempted to be like, "Hi, I'm God." Right?
Yay.
Right? And
Yay.
what's
Yeah.
funny is, I don't know if I've told you this before, but my nickname since elementary school has been Dog, D-O-G. Well, if you spell it backwards, right?
Oh, cool. That's
But
perfect.
that's one of the little synchronicities
I love that.
of this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm God. Then they'll be like,
Yeah.
"What? What?" I'm like,
That's
"It
hilarious.
is what it is." Yeah,
So true. So true. And the look in a dog's eyes is pure beingness, is God. And so
exactly.
God appearing as dog. Yeah. In the mind, which is all mental. This is all a sensory experience, mentally projected. It's imaginary.
Made up.
Yeah. Not physical. Yeah. It's amazing. I was going to look at some of the stuff I wrote recently. You are existence itself. So what you're aware of on the screen of awareness, you give rise to, you bring life to. So there is that initial resistance to identifying as the actor on the screen. There is that, which is the alarm system, the intuition waking itself up from the dream, just like the nightmare at night. The resistance, the refusal to accept that is what wakes you up. So that's all beautiful little, because this is singular. You can't be fooled. Um, the infinite awareness with being localized in the body, yeah, it creates that illusion of subject object, where instead of this is all one subject, one subjective experience as one pure consciousness, it appears as the whole totality of the pure consciousness is just inside this one body, which creates that illusion of subject object, which is beautiful. Exactly what you wanted, which didn't even happen. Um, everything feeling. Let's see. I already chatted about that. Um, so yeah, everything is this beingness, spaciousness that's characterless, bodiless, formless, invisible. That is all there is, appearing as bodies, sensations, qualities. So that's the original face. And so seeing that, right, what you already are, it just becomes obvious that even all the bodies that you thought were separate from you are you. are this pure consciousness, this aliveness from which everything's appearing and disappearing, not happening to you, just an infinite sensation. So you're like God wearing the VR headset. It's like eliciting this visceral experience, this all of these qualities being sensed, these sensations. And with consciousness being fundamental, you are outside of the illusion of space-time, rendering it, imagining it, giving rise to it, the source of it, which is like your infinite playground. So you can experience yourself as everything in this infinite consciousness. Um, yeah, like like being everyone's experience being in the flow, like a musician making music, where it's intuitive, it's just doing itself, and you're being it. There's no resistance to it. It's just flow. That's what this is. That's what this is. Being, one being, and that's it. Um, yeah, you know how before the illusion of the object permanence, which made so it was like there was this illusion of object permanence. So then the imagination abstracted, ideas and just assumed that there was a world, assumed that there was a whole thing called a world, and like with all these people in it, and which is this how we have this unique experience. It's just part of it is with the abstraction, but and making sense of the story, because you would need to reference the illusion of the previous frames in the film strip to define what's happening right now, so you can perceive it, define it. But like a little baby with the peekaboo, with the parent doing peekaboo, like you literally appeared and disappeared, literally. And that's what's so fascinating and amazing. Just like the experiment they did where the kid, gave the baby the teddy bear, and so immediately rendering there's teddy bear, but then they put the pillow over the teddy bear, and the teddy bear never existed. It never happened. And then peekaboo, there's the teddy bear. That's like that pure immediacy without the storyline, or before there was this identification of, I'm the finite sensation.
Schrodinger's cat in the box. Is it dead or alive? It's not even there.
Yeah.
Right? It's not even
Yeah.
there.
Not even there, but also both. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
exactly. Yeah. It's
It's
everything.
dead and alive. It's
It's infinite
either
potential
and
at that
neither.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and empty potential can be
Empty.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see. Um, so this illusion relies on the imaginary abstraction of memory, of experience, to define each new scene in the movie. So it's like referencing the previous frames that didn't happen. And only through what it's not, the experience of opposite, can you define that scene or that frame. Which is so cool, how examining how it perceives itself. Even if you watch that, it's amazing how this phenomenal content in the screen of awareness perceives itself as perceived, as rendered, and so I is the one mind, the one noumenal awareness imagining itself as everything. So that pure I am is everything. And then when identified as being localized as the avatar in the headset, the I am becomes this and that. So I am happy, I am sad, I am. And when feeling separate from it and not knowing or not recognizing that you're the infinite that never dies, that's not limited or bound to the forms, there's an aversion to the sensations or resistance to it. But then it's seen as, oh my gosh, I'm all of it. I'm not afraid of it. It's appearing in me as the source of it. And so I'm pervading it. I'm making love to myself through these sensations. So then you're one with, it's obvious you're one with it. You've always been one with it, but it's just obvious. So then it can appear tantric or unified or so it just relaxes into this beingness, which it already is. It took effort to be tense or to avoid seeing yourself as the screen from which everything appears and disappears. That was too easy because you can only be that. Oh, I wrote down, it's like God being in the movie theater, watching a movie that's already been filmed that you've never seen before, projecting, perceiving, and experiencing the unique sensations of the qualities on the screen of awareness. Being infinite intelligence that's defining meaning from the impersonal experiential sensations, pure awareness identifying with the actor on the screen is experiencing what it's like to be finite and mortal when you're infinite and immortal, which is so cool. No one doing it. Yeah, so hearing this voice is not from the ears or a person hearing it. It's not happening in the body. The body isn't conscious. It's consciousness perceiving itself as sound, as being voice, intimate, not separate.
It's like having a conversation in one of your dreams at night, or
Yeah,
feeling in your dreams, or having a smell. I thought
yeah,
about that yesterday. It's like I don't remember tasting or smelling stuff in a dream, but definitely feeling and talking. And I talk about this stuff in my dreams now.
mm-hmm.
It's
Oh,
funny. I'll be
cool.
like, "Did you know that this is a dream?"
Yeah,
And it's yeah, and it's getting more. It's almost like I think I said it before. It's dreams at night are almost merging into
mm-hmm.
this. It's
Yeah,
there's so
because
much
less,
there's
yeah.
right. It's just because
Mhm.
it's the same thing. It
Yeah,
feels like I can feel more at night
mm-hmm.
or whatever.
Yeah. I've even had an awakening in a dream, like where it was the similar recognition of the absolute seeing itself. And it was so random because I never iron my clothes or do anything like that. Like I don't care about stuff like that. But in the dream, I was ironing clothes, working in this factory with all these Asian women. We were all ironing, and it was like I became um, aware of being aware in that moment, where it was just non-resistance, like the felt sense. I'm alive without thought. And it was just like I saw myself as the vast, limitless, infinite. And I was like, I had that, oh my gosh, whoa, I'm not this character ironing clothes. And so that was cool to have that in the dream.
Or having being being the camera, like, you're not there as a body,
Hmm.
you're experiencing the dream as a third person, like it's right, you're panning around, it's almost like an out of body, it's, you know what I
Hmm.
mean, like it's, or
Yeah.
you're the body and you can see your arms and stuff, but I've never seen myself in a mirror either, so I could be anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could have been an Asian woman in that
Yeah.
factory. You just
Yeah.
don't know, right?
For sure.
But I do in dreams I do feel like I'm the avatar Brent. Like I feel like I'm me, but
Hmm.
I know me, when I say me now, I know it's consciousness or awareness or
Hmm.
whatever. But I feel like the same thing
Hmm.
in the other dreams, right?
Yeah. It's so cool how that is the clue that shows you that it's just a dream.
Seamless.
Yeah. And that this is a dream too, that you're God dreaming this, that's outside of the VR headset, like giving rise to it. So making it appear to exist, and which is imagined, just like having a daydream. It couldn't appear to exist without you imagining it or being aware of it. All of it's the clue. It's just pointing to itself with every analogy. Even I was thinking about when I was little, which didn't happen, but the little Jenny playing, yeah, imaginary friends all alone, imaginary friends talking to them. That's what this is. And it was clearly pointing, that's what this is. Hello. How cute. And the childlike wonder, of like fascinated with this, like in awe of this, like, wow, I am no thing appearing as everything. How is this happening? This is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, making up characters for yourself and everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
and using your imagination as a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dragons and castles and whatever.
Yeah. Infinite.
And it was that
Infinite
feeling
conscious.
of
That's
being,
conscious.
yeah, being
Mm-hmm.
infinite. No, just, yeah. And the feeling of that coming back these days is fantastic. Just,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Not worrying about, just living. Just just living.
Mm-hmm. And how beautiful too. Like you wouldn't know what that was like if you didn't have the contrast of the illusion of opposite of that.
That's
So
right.
that when I first recognized that, I was like, holy shit, I am so happy that I got lost in my own dream. And I'm so happy that I appeared even as the trickster characters that abused me and, were part of the scam that was waking me up from the dream, because sometimes it's got to get really ridiculous for you to recognize this can't be real. But also the illusion of suffering, the illusion of being in hell. What would you know? How would you know what heaven was like, or how would you know what's if you hadn't gotten lost in your dream, feeling bound, you couldn't experience what it's like to experience yourself as being limitless, not bound. So it was that rough, like which then you recognize you always have been that. That everything is limitless, even the feeling bound is the infinite that you are appearing as that sensation, that finite sensation. Yeah. So it's just so beautiful. Like a love story. And like every movie that has the conflict and the resolution and the how amazing. That makes it interesting and experiential. And
The happy ending.
Yay. Yeah, it always has a happy ending. That's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're always free, forever free, never was bound, never even was in the movie, but just how amazing it is. It's experiencing yourself as every sensation, but intuitively knowing that you never die, you were never born. All of it was a dream, and you're this pure spaciousness that never goes away. Pure aliveness, beingness, awareness. Yay, guys, that was beautiful. Love you guys. Mwah. See you soon.
So yeah.
Yay. Bye. Thank you, guys.